Okay, so calculations part. So last time in chapter 4 we defined some variables, but now we need to actually, but we weren't able to do much with them. Now in chapter 5 we can actually do some calculations. So the key point in here is that we have two types, to begin with at least. There's a couple things in here. Like modulo was definitely important a little bit later, as is casting, but first to understand like how we do calculations with these different types of numbers. So an int and a double are different. An int is an integer. It's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's some sort of whole number. A double is a number that also includes a decimal. So 1.3576 is a double. So we get into some weird things when we try and do we do some like math calculations with this. So for example, if we set up int num1, so we're going to find some variable to be, and let's call this like, oh, my computer's going crazy, 7, and let's call this, we'll say 4. And then we'll set up a third number, and we'll call it like division, and it's going to be equal to the value of num1 divided by num2. What do you think is going to be the result of that? Answer to yourselves, what do you think is going to be the result of that? See a couple options. Pause it if you're still thinking. A couple different options. A, B, C. One option is that it's going to be, well, 4 divided by 7 is 1.75, right? But the problem with that is, like, what type of value is division? Is division an integer or is division a double? Well, it's an integer, right? So we can't possibly have decimals in there, so that's definitely not it. So, okay, well, it's 1.75. So, okay, well, it's got to be the nearest whole number, so it should be 2. Right, not 1.75 because it's double. Okay, so it's going to round up to the nearest whole number. It'll be 2. Also not true. The way that the computer will do this, the correct answer to this, surprise, surprise, the correct answer for 7 divided by 4 is, in fact, 1. And the reason that is like, yeah, when we divide 7 by 4, we get 1.75. But what the computer does here, again, computers are dumb. They're not smart. So what it's going to do is going to take all this, and it's just going to delete the decimal part, and it's going to set that equal to the value. Okay. So that's, yeah, so that could be a bit of an issue. Like if you're making a calculator out of this, you're going to have some problems. We could do something different. What about if we change this? Okay. Int num1. Let's leave it all the same. Let's do, but now we're going to make this a double. That'll fix our problems. Division is equal to num1 divided by num2. You might think this would fix the problem, because the way that this fixes the problem is that, well, division is now a double, double's a decimal, so we should be able to get the correct answer of 1.75. But the problem is, actually, when you run this code, we're still going to get an answer of 1. Like, assuming it's 7 and 4. The reason is that what the computer first does is it calculates this, which is an integer divided by an integer, and we're going to get 1.75, and it doesn't immediately recognize that it's going to get stored as a double, so it just immediately deletes this part, sets it to 1, and then we set a double equal to this. Computers are dumb. We need to think for them. They're not going to think for us. What we need to do instead here, the way we could do this is through something called casting. Casting means to change one variable type to another. So we can't change, like for example, we've declared num1 to be an integer. We can't change this value to be a double or anything like that. We can't set this to be a double variable. But what we can do is take this in here, in casting, when we cast, we put in little parentheses, then we put whatever we want to change our variable into. So in this case, the fact that we're dividing integer by integer was giving us an error. What we need to do is change this into a double. We're going to make num1 into a double. And my handwriting's not really this bad. It is pretty bad, but this thing's not working so well. I need to adjust it. We could do this. We're going to change num1 into a double, and then divide it by num2, and this will get us an answer of 1.75. And the reason why is if we go into this, we look at this table here. When we divide an integer by an integer, we get an integer as a result. But anytime we make one of these things a double, the result will be a double. So if we divide a double by an integer, we'll get a double. If we divide a double by double, we get a double. Integer by double, we get a double. So doubles are like, they take up more room in the computer, but they are contain more information, including decimals.